Hello, welcome back to JRTV here with another Stokies here, Stokies there episode. I've got two new guests for you. We've got Ben Green and Nigel Postings, both from different parts of the world. Of course, I'm here on the East Coast, but we've got Nigel is all the way in the West Coast. Nigel, how are you doing?
Good. Yeah, I'm here in Seattle, so yeah, fine, thanks. We'd like to be happy with today's results, but not. Yeah.
0-0 against West Brom is not going to excite people, is it?
No.
Ben, you're all the way in the UK. How's things over there?
I think we've hit the record for the most consecutive days of rain. So I think we'll be surprised if the rain doesn't stop raining at the minute. It's just been continuous rain for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's dismal, dull, pretty much a complete reflection of today's game.
Well, they don't know anything about that in Seattle, do they? It never rains.
No rain in Seattle, no, yeah.
And here in Orlando, of course, we don't know anything about a rainstorm either. So it's dreary on the pitch and dreary off the pitch. I mean, 0-0, extremely boring. We'll get into that in a minute. But first, I want to hear from you guys and understand where you're coming from and how long you've been a Stoke fan. Nigel, you're living in Seattle, but of course, you don't sound like you're from Seattle. No. Where are you from originally, and how did you become a Stoke fan?
No, so originally actually from Staffordshire, Tamworth. So I grew up surrounded by Villa fans. But yeah, so my reason for supporting Stoke is the man himself, Gordon Banks. I think my dad and brother used to go watch Leicester City, and I must have cottoned on that he'd gone from Leicester to Stoke and then suddenly followed him. So my first game was back against Derby County in 1969. I worked out I was about 4. And then being on ever since. And then the story with Gordon Banks is, turns out that my first girlfriend's dad was an ex-footballer who knew Gordon Banks. So I got to meet him 3 or 4 times and actually went to a game with him. So I went to his house, went to a game against Notts County, which we were 2-0 up and drew 2-2. But yeah, so he's a reason. And then while I was in England, I used to travel from Warwick as a season ticket holder. The season we went up from the old third to the second, or whatever it was now. Got to go to the Millennium Stadium. But yeah, so Gordon Banks is a reason. And it's something you just can't shake. You know, it's just in your blood from then on.
I mean, one of the most famous Stokies ever. I've got to meet Gordon Banks a few times as well. Such a nice guy, legend.
Wow.
Absolute, I mean, it's him and Stanley Matthews are the ones, you know, with the statues there, the pinnacle. So that's a really cool story of how, I mean, what a great guy to follow and then become a Stokie from. Oh, Ben, please share. Tell us.
Got a good story about Stanley Matthews. So when I first started going down Stoke at the old Victoria ground, our turnstile in the Butler Street was next door to the executive suite entrance. And I remember one game, I must have been 8 or 9, and Stanley Matthews walked past and ruffled my hair and said, "Had a good day, have a good game, son." And then we managed to every game sort of be at the same sort of time, and we started recognising he'd make his way and come and go, and it became a bit of a traditional thing. So I've obviously got that great story from Stanley Matthews from all those years ago. Well, yeah, it was
okay. So both of you guys just started off the podcast with 2 stories from 2 absolute icons of Stoke City. I mean, getting your hair tousled by Stanley Matthews is a good luck charm. That's pretty.
It didn't work though, did it? It didn't work. They did something because it's not lasted.
But you're like a sort of mascot. That's pretty cool. All right. Well, great stories. Ben, where are you watching from now?
So I'm actually in Stoke at the minute. I've lived in Stoke most of my life. I do travel quite a bit for work, but I live in Stoke at the minute, and I've been the advocate and the admin for Stoke City USA for 10 years now. So my Stoke City journey began. I wasn't really. I sort of drove it myself a little bit. My dad he wasn't really into. He used to check the results, but I knew he was a Stoke fan, but he never really talked about it. And my grandparents lived the other end of the city, so my first memories of Stoke was going down the A500, especially at night time, and seeing the floodlights and the game on and hearing the noise. And I remember pestering my dad and just saying, "Dad, when can we go? When can we?" And eventually he relented and was, "Oh, for God's sake, I'll just take you in the game," because he's pestering me. And we eventually went, and that was in 1988. 1988, we read our first game. And that was it. I think that the season after that, we got season tickets, and that was it. And then sadly, we lost my dad nearly 3 years ago now. But up until that whole time, me and my dad have been season ticket holders together. So for nearly 40 years of watching Stoke together.
True Stokey through and through. True season ticket member, always there. Were you there today?
I didn't get to go today. No. So we tried to get tickets for West Brom today. So the club admitted they messed up a little bit. So they should have held back some tickets, 2,000 tickets for the general sale, but they never made it that far. They got released too early and we couldn't get tickets. But so we're a bit gutted because we've been to West Brom the last 2 seasons in a row, so we missed that one today. But that's what it is.
They have to hold a certain percent, right? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, they should. Yeah, they should hold a certain percentage back, but apparently they were mistakenly released. Because we were there on the dot at 3 o'clock to try and get the tickets, and they were gone. So,
you didn't miss much, did you? I mean, it was a boring 0-0. Let's get into it, Nigel. Let's start off with your, thoughts, just overall on the West Brom result, 0-0 away at the Baggies. What kind of stood out to you?
Well, in full transparency, I didn't watch the game today. Because it was on the TV. I was saying before, I used to buy the season ticket, $120 or £120 every season to watch the game, and then this season, the first season, because of the Paramount coverage here in the US, I kind of gave up. So I just listened. I listened to TalkSport, BBC, and it sounded dull. It sounded as if West Brom slightly better than Stoke. We never sort of seemed to pressurise. So I don't know. I was looking at the February fixtures and I'm thinking, this month is looking pretty good. We've got some good games and could get a lot of points this month. Well, you look who we've got coming. Who's it? We've got Oxford, we've got Charlton, even Leicester. I know we're going to talk about where we think we're going to go this season, but I thought West Brom would have been a good start. So no, very disappointing, and it sounded. I'm not sure if you heard it. Obviously, John, you watched it, but it sounded very dull, and we didn't look if we were going to do anything.
Yeah, it was dull, I think is the right word, especially that first half. Ben, what are your kind of overall takes on the Baggies away board draw?
I think there was a lot riding on both teams today. I think it was a chance for us to try and get ourselves back in with some momentum towards the playoffs, and I think they're desperate for points. So they've had a run of not just poor results, just attitude. I mean, I saw the game, they lost at home. Was it 4-5-0 the other week? So I think today was a huge game for both teams, and it looked like that. It really came across that way. Neither team could really get a foothold in the game. I think we had our chances. I think Schmidt air kicked the ball, which seemed harder to miss it than score it. But they had chances, we had chances. It was just it was a miserable, wet, rainy day. Ball spent most of the time in the air. It was just it was literally just one of them games. It was I think we'd still be playing next week, mate, and I don't think we get a goal. I don't think either team would score, to be fair.
I mean, after last week where it was, the defensive frailties were there, and we've been so good in the defense this year, so to see us slip back like that, I'm glad that we got the 0-0 away at West Brom, and I do think, Simpkid made a great save, and you've got to take some positives from the partnership of Phillips and now I'm completely blanking. Who plays next to Phillips?
Wilmot.
Ben Wilmot. And then, of course, Lowell at right back, I think looked better. We just, Cresswell back in instead of Bocat. The midfield two, protecting from Seko and Pearson. That I like, but everything in front of that was really disappointing and just so lackluster. I think our attack at the moment has real trouble, doesn't it? It just doesn't, there's no quality up there. We get up the field and that final ball, that final cross, that final shot, whatever it is just really poor. And also West Brom were doing the same thing. So it just kind of ended up with a lot of back and forth, and you get up the field and nothing would happen. It was a very head and hands moments, lots of quality opportunities in there actually, but nobody showing that, I'm going to be the guy to put the ball in the back of the net. So anything else you guys want to say on the game from West Brom?
I think you said it. No, not really.
I think the only thing that didn't work for me, I was surprised by, is that I don't think Pearson and Seko work together in the middle. I really don't think they do. I think they're too similar of a player.
But Pearson had a really
I think we could have seen a different. I think Rigo should have started earlier. Yeah, I just think they're too similar to each other, and I don't think you can play them together. And it didn't work that first half, especially. But Mark Robins is the man we trust. So
yeah, it was just a bit boring overall, and especially recent results like we've had, draws and losses. Nigel, how are you feeling about the past month and what we've been looking like?
I mean, I was looking back. I was thinking, you're tying the fact when Baker got injured and against Coventry, and since then there've been a couple of good results. We had a bad December. Then we started the year off well, didn't we? 2 away wins. Think, okay, could get back into it. But what worries me now, there's some pretty good sides. Not only the top 2, but you see Millwall result today. Hull were doing well, and they lost to Bristol City. So I don't know. I was full of optimism, and then I said before, I thought if we're going to do it this month, is it? We've got a set of fixtures that should return 12 points potentially. But I think the others are going to go away from us. I think it's looking like mid-table. But given the last season, the season before, I suppose it's an improvement. And then there's been some good games. The Bristol City game at home. The 5 goals there. Then the Cheltenham game, and even like I watched the Birmingham City game a couple of weeks ago. They were the stronger team away. We should have won that game. So I don't know. I think we've had a disappointing run in December, a couple of good games January, and then the last 2 games have kind of dented it. Let's see how the rest of this month goes. But I'm not that optimistic at the moment.
And similar for you, Ben. Your feelings on the past results.
Recent results have been really frustrating. I mean, obviously, you can't take out the fact of the injuries. I mean, 11 first-team players has had a huge impact. But anything's got to be a positive over the last 5-6 years. I mean, the fact that we're in a conversation and we're talking about can we get back into the playoffs. I mean, if you told Ben Green 12 months ago we'd be doing that, I would have literally snapped your hand. I honestly would have done. Because so to be in that situation, and I think it's easy as fans, isn't it, to forget 12 months ago where we were. We were in that West Brom situation, desperate for points, looking over our shoulders. Whereas now we're frustrated because we're not getting the points we need to get back where we want to be. So we've got to try and see that as a positive. We've got to try and see that as a positive. Because if we don't, then honestly, you might as well give up, haven't we? We might as well give up because. It has been a better season, and without the injuries, I've said this today. I've said it at every game. How many teams have you seen this season that we played that have actually you could say they were better than us? Because I can't think. There's not many teams that I would say have been better than us on the day. I was impressed with Southampton last weekend. I really was the way they set up. I was impressed with Coventry, but there's not many teams I would say outplayed Stoke this season. And that it's been a long time since we've been able to say that. So it's hugely positive for me. I think you're right, Baker.
Ben,
I think we've massively under. Go on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. So Ben, what did you think? What did you think of the Middlesbrough team? I know we were up at half time against them. Did you think they were strong against Stoke?
I think they had a spell for. I think they had a spell for 10 minutes after the half, where we switched off. I think that was it.
Yeah.
But I think for 10 minutes after half time, when they got their goals, 10, 15 minutes, I'd say, they went for it. Their clear game plan was to come out after half time and go for it. And we fouled for it. And we conceded 2 sloppy goals. And before you know it, it's 2-1 down and we're chasing the game. I didn't rate much to Middlesbrough at home. I didn't rate much Middlesbrough away. I think we should have won that away. Again, we should have beat Middlesbrough away. So there's not many teams I could, hand on heart, say I've seen that have been better than Stoke this season, performance-wise. Yes, there've been a lot of clear games. There's not many I thought, wow, that's a good side. Not many teams I've seen this season. And to say that shows where we're starting to level out a little bit under Robins, and it's a great achievement. That's a huge achievement to even think. And people are arguing this season championship is a poor championship. I'd argue differently that a lot more teams have improved this year. So I think I don't think we should undervalue it at all, how well we're doing. And it's frustrating, but it's a positive frustration. It's not a negative frustration. It's not like, we're going to get relegated. It's like, we want to catch up with everybody. We want to get back in there. So it's all good for me, John. It's all good for me. I'm enjoying the season. It's making a nice change.
I like the positive vibes because I know it's like you read online from over here, right? And I think that's one of the things. We're not there at the Stoke games, always like watching over these, and so to hear Stoke fans who watch the games week in, week out and are pretty positive about the situation is great to hear, because you're totally right. Compared to other years, we are in a better scenario. To stick with you, Ben, what are your thoughts with this week coming? We've got a Wednesday against Charlton and then the big FA Cup tie against Fulham. Based on how we're playing at the moment, are you feeling positive?
Do you know what? I am positive every game. Under Mark Robins, it's very rarely he gets a game plan completely wrong. I know some people criticise his substitution timings and he could bring substitutions on a little bit earlier, and I probably agree with that sometimes, but I think Charlton away, they are beatable. We've got that Nathan Jones aspect. He's going to want to beat us again after we beat him and that midweek game, and they were singing the chants that they were singing towards him. So, again, it's a very doable game. It's a very winnable game. And I think Robins likes the FA Cup. I think he really likes a run in the Cup. I think he's a very traditional manager. And I think a run in the Cup for him is equal almost as to league, so he'll go for it with Fulham. So I think he'll go for it for all the games that we've got left now. We've got 15 league games and a cup run potentially. So I think it's achievable. I think if the right Stoke team turns up on any game this season, I'm confident most of the time that we'll win. So it's just obviously getting those players back in. Getting those injuries back in that we've and all these players that we've lost. Can we get them back quick enough before the season peters out and it's too late? That's the thing. So, but no, I'm really confident, mate.
At least we're not waiting for Sam Gallagher to come back, right? We've got other options at the moment. Nigel, I want to talk to you about these games coming up. You mentioned that we played well against Charlton already. So, of course, Wednesday, do you think like this is a game that we can win and start to write the season back in the right direction?
Yeah, I think, obviously the Nathan Jones factor, I'm hoping we can do that. And they had some iffy results. Again, the Cup, watched the game against Coventry, did well there. And, it was empty stadium with the Cup. I'm not sure how many are going to be at Fulham. I'm not sure why the FA Cup is. It always seems that on the FA Cup, the away fans always go in the thousands, but the home crowd's always lower. But no, so getting back to it, I think, we could beat Charlton away. Then we've got 2 games, Leicester and Oxford. They've got to be winnable given what Leicester's going through. I know Oxford picked up a point to Coventry today. But if you think if we pick up 6 to 9 points and go through the next round of the Cup, and Ben, to your point, we were away at Derby last game of the season last year on the chance of going down. And here we are now, we're trying to get to 6 and it's doable. So I don't know, I'm confident, obviously given the injuries, but I think, if this is a season to do it because teams on good runs, bad runs, look at Coventry now, they're on a bad run. If we could just turn it around. I don't know what anyone knows when Ben's back. How long was he injured for? Any idea?
Who,
Baker?
Sorry, Luke Baker, not Ben.
Oh, Baker.
When's he back?
So Baker's back on the grass.
Hopefully soon.
He's back on the grass, apparently, but he's got pain.
Yeah.
So they're trying to manage the pain at the minute, and they don't know where that's from. So that's what Robin sort of said. But he's very clever with his injuries. I don't know if you noticed with Robbins, he always refuses to put a timeline on how long people are going to be out for because he doesn't want to give the game away. So I would be surprised if Baker's that far away. So hopefully,
because
and Shamadou can't be far away. Hopefully as well.
Yeah,
he's not far away. He said he's not far away. So I think that's next 2 games we'll probably see Shamadou back in.
Let's talk about some of the new guys we brought through the door. Of course, today, straight away, we get a Raksaki debut start, right wing. Maybe that's because we've got injuries still, Million coming back. Maybe we want to save Cisse on the bench to be the striker, but he's been tasked with being put straight in there. Nigel, what were your thoughts on Rak-Sakyi coming in for his first game?
Yeah, I mean, they're two good signings this week, weren't they? Young wingers. Yeah, let's see how they do. You know, I think back to, I was jotting some notes before I came on the call. I remember the famous winger Chamberlain. Remember him for Stoke? And the right wing, unbelievable. So let's see. I'm impressed with Silver Thomas on the wing this season. A surprising as right back the other week. So yeah, let's see what happens. You know, they've got an opportunity to have all the injuries and see if they can perform and maybe stay in the team.
And Ben, our other big signing of this window, Milan Smith. What were your thoughts on? He's seen 2 games now. I don't want to, jump the gun too early, but what's your assessment so far?
He's got a lot to learn, and very, very quickly. I think the difference between Dutch football and the pace of Dutch football to English football, and this is nothing against him, there's been no lack of effort. I just think from the 2 games that we see, he's struggled for service. He's not really had anything to go off. I mean, today he had that chance 6 yards out, ball dropped, and he missed it. And then he was promptly taken off. He wouldn't have been taken off because of that, obviously, but you can tell there's a period of adjustment. But there's definitely a player there, and Robbins has said he can see a player. And when Robin says he can see a player, you know there's a player there. So I think it's just a matter of time until we can get him up to that speed. But it's whether he can do it quickly, because obviously we need some goals before the end of the season. So it's just whether he can click in the time that we need him to. But his effort is there. It's just, you see him get caught with the ball, and it's just that little bit of, oh right, okay, this is the level or the speed that we're at now, and I think once he finds that, he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. Like, looking at the videos online, I mean, we also get shared these videos online when we said it's sign a player, don't we? And they look like Ronaldinho or the best player that they've ever seen, but his finishing ability is crazy. I mean, we just need a striker who's going to score some goals. I mean, the last striker that scored 20 plus goals for Stoke was Peter Thorne. And I think the stat between that is something ridiculous, like 70 odd strikers. We've had 70 odd strikers since Peter Thorne, and when you think about that, it's just it's crazy, isn't it? We find ourselves in a position where we can't get somebody who can score. And that's the magic. That's the magic dust every team's after, isn't it? They're after that player that's going to net you those goals that will take you up that league. But we seem to get players who we either catch them too early, like a Liam Delap, or catch them too late. We never seem to hit that sweet spot where they're bang on form and then they're going to put 30 goals. I mean, we have done in the past, obviously, and we'll move on to like favourite players, because one of mine is the striker. But it just seems we can't seem to find that magic one. I mean, Obama looked like he was that at the start. I really did, and I do think again there's a player in that player. I do think, but again, I think we've got him too early. I think in 3-4 years' time, you'll see him in the Premier League banging netfuls of goals. But we just get him at the. And don't get me wrong, they need development and they need to go out on these loans. It's just weird, the unlucky club that seems to be that early stage where they're not fully banging their goals in. So, yeah, and I think Schmidt's that. I think Schmidt has got it. I just think he's going to learn very quickly that he hasn't got the time on the ball he's used to. So, but we'll wait and see. I
think the adjustment period needed for our new players, right? I think the same thing with Rak-Sakyi. How quickly is he going to be able to be effective? I know he's played Championship before, but it's new team. We've added a lot of new players both in the summer and now in January. So there's still a bit of, like this gelling that needs to happen. He's figuring out how to play with each other, getting a bit, I think, cleaner in the sequences of the passing, understanding each other's movements, that kind of thing. So hopefully we'll see that soon. In terms of the strikers, like you said, with Barmer still in the club, I really thought they were going to send him back on loan, but it seems like he's going to recover in time for them to keep him around. Maybe Bosnick comes back, and then you've got Smith, Bosnick, Barmer. one of those at some point you think has got to hopefully start scoring goals? Because with this season, it's been all about the wingers, and we're lacking those scoring strikers, and have been for a very long time, as well pointed out by Ben. Do we have any thoughts, Nigel, on the players that went out? Jack Bonham has left. We've had a few loanees as well. Do any of those you think?
No, just going back to, thinking of a player that went out and come back, and a striker, Nathan Lowe. Walsall fans were devastated. He was netting them in for Walsall last season. He comes back to Stoke and never really got tried out that much. I know he's back in now. He's on an injury. So there's one. So and the people went out. Bonham, that's fine. We've got three good goalies really. I'm not sure when our Swedish guy's back. Is he's injured? Is he out for the rest of the season? But he's good. So I think I feel confident about the squad. Let's see what happens. But I'd be very interested about Nathan Lowe, because he was banging them in. To your point, Ben, is he too young and not at the level of the Championship? Because obviously at Walsall is a lower league. Could he be a prospect?
Ben, what are your opinions on Favour going out alone? I think there were some Stoke fans that were wanting to throw him in, and start him in games. Were you in that camp, or you thought this was probably more sensible to send it back out?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because we have these players and they're in the fringes, and then you never really see them, and then they get dropped in. And I actually thought the couple of games that came on, he did look decent, and he made an impact on the game. But obviously, there's something that Robbins doesn't think's right for the level at the minute, and probably a loan right now is you look at Favour. How many first team top level senior games has he played? Probably not that many. He's come on bits and starts for us. He's probably done some bits for Fulham when he was at Fulham, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He needs a period of games now where he's Saturday, Wednesday, relentlessly pulling out those performances and getting those minutes in, because he's definitely a player there. But obviously, there's more value, and I think we've seen that with, like your point, Nigel. His Lowe goes out on loan and he develops, and he comes back a different player. So hopefully with Favour it's going to be the same. But I think Jayden. I don't think if the Chelsea player Ampu, I can't say his name. I haven't learned his name. Apologies. I think that was with Jayden Dixon going to Arsenal. That sort of forced our hand to purchase him from Chelsea, because we suddenly had this money that was coming in, and I think that wouldn't have happened. Although he was on the radar, the Chelsea player was. I don't think that would have happened, and I think Favour might have stayed. But because everything developed so quickly, I don't think it would have been fair to Favour, which is why that loan then went out. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but from what I'm reading from the club
did him
is
a favour, you might say.
Yeah, exactly. We did him a favour. Yeah, spot on. But I think that was forced a little bit.
Was sitting there. I had to.
It was perfect, mate. It was. I can't believe I didn't think of myself, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think makes sense. I think he's in the same situation as the Lowe Tesco, right? Like we could keep him around and give him some minutes, but I prefer them to get out on loan and really develop this season, see if they can compete next season. Let's move on to the big question. Where do you think Stoke are going to finish this season, Nigel? I know we've kind of talked about it, but can I push you to give me a predicted finish place?
I think if we get some of the injured players back, and we have a good February, I'm still optimistic we could make the playoffs. I still think, February is a month of, if we don't do well in February, I don't think that's it. But I think we have the opportunity against 3 teams to get 9 points here, put us back in the game. The other players come back in to help us through March and April, and I think we could play. We could be in the playoffs. I think there's not many other great teams. You see teams doing really well and coming back, like Wrexham lost today, the Hull lost today. Every team's going to go through a good and bad time. But I'm optimistic. If we get players back, we could get into 6. But then as a Stoke fan, I'm realistic. We'll probably be 12.
The pessimism is always there, in the background. It's the hope that kills you, right? I mean, Ben, where are you feeling? Are you think we can? Is the bad times behind us? Are we going to be riding off into the sunset now, or is there more to come?
Do you know what? The bad times are behind us. The bad times are behind us. I don't think it's going to be this year. but I do think we are on a path with Robins, and I would like to think we get the players back and we get back into a rhythm again, and it's definitely doable. But I would much rather see a positive finish just outside the playoffs, build in the summer, look at fitness a little bit, because I think questions need to be raised as to why we've had so many injuries. So look at that, get some more players in the summer, and then really go for it next year. Personally, that's the way I think we're at. Don't get me wrong, if we do get the players back, Baker comes back, Chamberlain comes back, and we start hitting those performances again, I think we could get up there, because I think you're right. Looking at the table, there's a bit of a breakaway, but teams will falter, and you've got to remember, a lot of these teams, Hull have had some injuries. Millwall have been very lucky with injuries so far. They're bound to hit an injury patch at some point. Wrexham are dropping. I think Coventry, Middlesbrough, and Ipswich are pretty much dead on between top three. Obviously, Coventry are dropping, but I think it was between them three. So anywhere down after that is doable. But I think just outside the playoffs for us this season, positive season, going to the summer, not having killed all our nerves from a relegation battle, get some players in and really go for it next season.
I like it. I like all this positivity we've got here. Let's see if we can hopefully turn it around and finish the season sort of like how we started it, because I'm with you guys. I want to see this completion of the project, or the beginnings of the project under Mark, right? I think that last year was a disaster. If we end up anywhere near where we were last year in the table, it's not enough of an improvement for me. I think let's make sure we finish at least in the top 10, if not pushing for those playoffs. And like you guys said, the games are there. It's a tight table. Hopefully, if we can turn it around, we can make it happen. All right. The big question for you, Nigel, who is your favorite Stoke player of all time?
I've got to be green. I've got three from different
That's
eras.
right. That's okay. You can,
Yeah, I
it's
think
very hard for one,
yeah,
isn't it?
If I think when I started supporting Stoke, obviously I'm the old guy here, had to be Jimmy Greenough. Being on the Boothen end and Greenough on the pitch, that was fantastic. If I think to the kind of the middle years, I think Chamberlain. I think the games, I went to Birmingham City away, like the second game of the season, winning 4-0, and Chamberlain, we're just 4-0 at half time, so Chamberlain. Then if I think Stephen and Sonzi, in his first period at Stoke, we all remember where we were when we beat Liverpool. And that goal he scored, I'm not sure if it's the sixth or whatever, no, the fifth, just unbelievable. So those are the three players. So it's different eras, but Greenough, Chamberlain, and then Sonzi.
Can Nzonzi count as like two eras because he's back again now? Just like Nzonzi part two.
Like if you, nice if you could, yeah.
I love all these old faces around the club from the Premier League days. You got Ryan Shawcross and all these boys. Ben, who's your favorite? You can also, if you've got eras as well, that's fine. I like that it's hard to pick one. It is hard.
Yeah, it's hard to pick one. My all-time favourite Stoke City hero is the golden one, Mark Stein. Honestly, there's not many players I've seen in my time who would get the ball anywhere near that goal, and you knew 90% of the time that is going in the back of the net. So I just, honestly, we haven't had a striker like him for a long time. Yes, Ricardo Fuller, amazing striker, but Mark Stein was just prolific. I mean, how many strikers have we had where they were prolific strikers? So he's my favourite all-time Stoke player. The most talented modern day era Stoke player is Marko Arnautovic. I think him on his day, from a talent perspective, you watch some of these classic Premier League games, he would run rings around Man United, and this is when Man United were good. So from a talent perspective, on his day, Marko Arnautovic is one of the most talented, if not the most talented Stoke player I've seen live from a talent perspective, raw talent. But my hero, mate, is always going to be Mark Stein. Until we get another 35 goal a season striker is going to take that title, he will be up there for me, mate, honestly.
Of course.
What's that saying when we were called Stoke Alona?
That was with Bojan and Shaqiri and Arnie.
Shaqiri.
Yeah. I remember being complacent then when we were complacent because we were like ninth for 2 or 3 seasons on the top of the Premier, thinking we're going to get any better. Look back on those days now.
We thought we were, we deserved more. look where we are now. So, it's a tale of the tape, right? You're never going to know, but I liked your pick out for Stino there. The interview the club did with him on their podcast is really great. And for those of us who weren't around to watch him in the stands, it really kind of gave us a perspective of what it was, his time at Stoke was like. So yeah, a legend. And another legend. So I love that one. We've got some great eras, and we talked about some great players in today's episode. So thank you all for watching. If you have not done so, go ahead and drop a like. If you have not done so, go ahead and subscribe to John Rawlins TV. We're going to have more Stokies here, Stokies there coming out in the future, where I get to talk with different Stoke fans from around the world. So until then, thank you, and we'll see you next time.